Hello, my friends. This is Maerlande. Uh, so today I want to talk about my ideas on how to build a farm for adhesive. So let's have a look here. I think first thing is, oh, well, I want to start off with a joke. So,
Someone
um,
told me
what is
I
black
had
and
a
white
few
and
loose
eats like a horse?
screws. I am
A
still
zebra. Ha ha ha
for
ha
those
ha.
screws.
Isn't that brilliant? No, maybe not. Anyways, lots of people have done videos about adhesive and how to collect it and how to do it fast and so on and so forth. I think I've got a little bit different perspective from what I've seen, and that's based on methods I use with blueprints and having enough of each of the critical plants and having enough space and enough budget. So the clincher here, we'll start it out. We'll start with a tour. So this is my little basic workshop. I tucked it into a Red Rocket garage, which is fun. And in the workshop, if you have a look here, at your cook station, under utility, you've got vegetable starch, corn, mute fruit, potato, and water. So those are the critical things that the farm needs. And of course, there are serious budget effects. So if we take a look at the build menu, you will see I'm very, very close to max budget. See up on, well, you can't see my finger. There's my finger. Up over there. Up over there. Yeah, way over there. You can see the budget is pretty close to complete max. And let's have a look at what we've got around. So we've got the basic workshop, pretty simple, benches, punch card, stashes, your standard stuff, cryo freezer, and I do have a little bit of vendor. Now I tend to do this, I took a vendor in here so I could refill when people are using the vendors. This farm, you'll notice, is located on the very, very common route for beginners coming from 76, heading to the Wayward. I like putting vendors on this zone, and I tend to fill them up with beginner stuff, inexpensive stuff for beginners. Now, if we walk over the rest of the farm, here's the working parts. So you see I've got a little bit of razor, a little bit of gourd, some potatoes. That's the clincher for this. Potatoes, mute fruit, and corn. And you'll see that these are tight circles. I'll get to that in a little bit. But those are your clincher foods for adhesive, and then you need a lot of water. So I've jammed up a lot of water here. Let's have a look at a bird's eye view. I use photo mode. So there you go. There's kind of the basic layout of the farm. Let's change the field of view. Not the field of view, the depth of field. We'll turn that off for a minute. So you can see just from above, it's possible, you could fit 3 circles of each of these foods in the budget by getting rid of some of the other stuff. And, but it's touch and go. So if I was to, these circles are very, very high budget. We'll talk about that when I get to blueprints. But this is enough for the purposes I have in mind. And I did want a functional area with, you could see, if we tour around, we'll get out of here. I've got resources, a cow, and I've got a chicken coop, and I got a butter churn, and a mothman nest. This guy's an herbivore, so it's good to have the basics. That's mainly why the gourd's over there. And then we jump around. Then over here, I've got a couple of instruments, a little sitting area, a little fire, just so there's some light to draw people in if they're wandering by the Wayward. And then a very simple prefab with coffee and tea. A bed, actually 2 beds, because for those who don't know, the spore plant is a bed. Now I'm not going to stay in there, but I just wanted to show you. So it eats you, but actually you're having a nap. And 1 Collectron, my favorite, the Nuke Quantum. So let's go over next thing. I think we'll talk about, well, I'll just repeat one more time. You could fit 1, 2, 3 of each of the 3 foods. Versus I have 2 and 1. The extra corn is for if I want to brew some booze. and that's useful to have corn and razor grain. So I could definitely swap those two out for another potato and another meat fruit. Or no, I could swap the gourds out. Okay, now let's talk about basically the job of harvest. So it's pretty easy to harvest. Sometimes if we're harvesting away, you'll notice the last one's a little hard to pick. So let's pick enough of each. Pick one thing of corn. Yeah, last couple a little trickier. Come on, last corn. There it is. Then we'll pick a batch of meat fruit. Da, 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 da. You'll notice my plants disappear. That is a very cool mod called popcorn. And popcorn is sort of named as the corn pops, which isn't how you'd first think of it, but it's pretty nifty. The other thing I have is a turbofert. So the way to use a turbofert is it's a grenade. I could hotkey it. Let me check my hotkeys. What have I got? Yeah, there we go. Let's hotkey a turbofert. Okay, turboferts act in about a 3x3 sphere. So one alternate way to do this is build upwards. But since I have these lovely tight circles, I don't. So then we toss a turbofert. Poof! Whoa, that wasn't a turbofert. Haha! My bad. Let me respawn real quick. That was funny. Boy, did I screw that up. Okay, well, that's an embarrassing moment of idiocy. Let's go back to, actually, there we are. Now we've activated the turbofert. So, we toss the turbofert right smack in the middle, and poof, all the plants come back. So that, and you can keep doing that. Let's just do it again. There we go. Let's have some more potatoes. Come on, more potatoes. One more potato. All right, one more time. See, you can just keep harvesting and harvesting and harvesting. So the tight circles make harvest pretty quick. It's a little tricky on some. The gourds take a little fiddle and fuss. See, you can see they're a little, the last one sometimes, but gourds are not as critical. And now, you know, one of the last things will be, I'll talk about water here in a sec. So to repeat, the recipe is mute fruit, corn, potatoes, and water. Purified water. Oh, look, my loot. Hey, grab that. Okay, next step. Let's talk about the blueprints. So each of these is a blueprint. You can plant these yourself. There are mods that remove collision. That can be a little bit tricky. You need to turn them on when you're trying to put your plants in tight groups and then turn those mods off. I'm not going to go into that because it's sort of beyond what I know well enough to demonstrate. But that is how these were made, using a mod that removes collisions and then very carefully placing the plants in a very tight circle. I didn't use that. I got these from a friend as blueprints. So let's demo how this works. What you do is you blueprint the floor tile. So you hold E, then you grow the selection, and you'll notice I got all the razor grain, but I did pick up this extra floor tile. See, it's white, so I turn that off. And now I can make a new blueprint. So this one would be, I believe it's actually 16 razor. But I've already got that one, but I'm just demonstrating. So there we go. There's the new blueprint. And if we look at blueprints, you'll see that the 16 is getting right up to the max on the blueprints. So let's look at one here. Well, that's actually badly named. Yeah, I've got these named wrong. It shows 12 corn, but as you can see, it takes 16. So that's incorrect. So that's the rough concept on blueprinting. Now, for purposes of blueprinting, if you want to learn these blueprints, what you need to do is join on someone who knows them, like me. You join them on a private world and you form a private team. The business of forming a private team is quite different than your normal casual teams. You actually have to leave your casual team And then when somebody shows up, you right click on them and you go invite to team. I can't demo this because I don't want extra people here when I'm trying to record. Bogs me down a bit. But that's how you make a private team. And then when you're in the private team, you go to their farm and you can copy all their stuff as blueprints. So that would be the way to do it. The second key piece would be, one way to find me would be go to text chat, get the text chat mod. I just popped it off briefly as a demo, but I've set it up so that it's anonymous. And we won't go into too much detail there, but that's text chat. I've got another video discusses how to install it. You can look that up if you want. Or you could find me through here, or maybe in game, or on Discord. Those links are attached to my account. Okay, that covers blueprints. I believe we've done an adequate job of that. So sort of the last critical piece of all this is, how do we very quickly harvest water? Well, here is a cool trick. If you store this floor, you store all the water, and that harvests it. And then I have previously made a blueprint of this. So where are we here? All the water, many coolers. And we just slap those water back down. You'll notice they're all empty. So let's see, how much water did I get? Food. Look at that. Oh, they were empty. Were they empty? Well, that is the quick way to harvest them, but I didn't end up with as much as I'd hoped for. And then you pop over here and we'll make adhesive. Look at that. Oh, I did get a lot of water, 122. Now I'm gonna not use all the water for, I'll use all of the mute fruit I got. That'll max it out. So there's a bunch of vegetable starch. That's not adhesive yet. We just go and toss it in our scrap box. And there we go. Lots and lots of adhesive. It's 2 adhesive each. The last little piece related to this is if you got extra water and you have the handy cutting fluid recipe, you can convert excess water with acid and bone and steel into oil. So there you go. And that's another way to use up excess oil. Of scrap, you probably have a lot of. If you're low on acid, don't make cutting fluid. If you got lots of acid, go ahead. And you'll see, what are we going to get here? Oh, it disappeared very, very quickly. But that's just one more tidbit. So, I think we've covered everything. No, you can definitely, I suggest that if you want this purely a farm, get rid of this other stuff. This is more than enough adhesive for my purposes most of the time. Oh, I took off my jetpack. Wowzer. Okay, that's the conclusion. One more quick look at the whole farm. Let's just do another overhead tour. Look at that. The fun little red rocket. Just enough power to power the basics. That's for the freezer inside. A little bit of power over here. And isn't that pretty? Actually, we'll turn that depth of field back off. There we go. So there's what she looks like. You can do your own pretty it up. Mine is a mix of as pretty as I feel like, but also functional. And as you saw when I was doing the harvesting, or when I was demonstrating blueprinting, the reason I put down the farmable over dirt tiles is to make it easier for people to come and blueprint this. It's not perfect. Sometimes people struggle, but it does work. And let's finish off with the final joke. What do you call a cow with no legs? Ground beef. All right, my friends, if you enjoyed it, do me the favor of like and subscribe. Find me on Discord. You know, all that cool stuff. Have a great day.